progress of the unit has gone, just with freshmen and trying to get everybody acclimated? How have you felt about it so far through?
I thought it was pretty good for them to come in freshmen and pick up the quickness of the game. There's a lot of things that they have to clean up, but overall I thought it was pretty good, especially the young guys.
What has impressed you the most about them?
The way they picked up the offense. I was more concerned of them from the mental aspect than the physical, and I thought they did a great job this first 2 weeks picking up the offense and then making the adjustments, and so I think they're going to come along pretty well.
When you look at this offense compared to last year, what are some of the challenges the running backs have to deal with in the Zach Hill offense?
I just think all the motions and the cadence changes and all the reads from a standpoint. Now we have a tight end and wings and things of that sort, but our guys are doing a great job understanding the why of every play, and that's my job to teach them.
With the skill set of the two young backs, do you think that it's a possibility to see two back sets a little bit more, or is that a possibility, do you think?
That definitely is a possibility, because Daniel's more fluent out in space, and Chip is better between the tackles, and so when I think Coach gets to it, I think you'll see two backfield sets and maybe even a 22 set.
Do you think a new offense really puts everybody on the same page as far as returning players and freshmen, just because everybody has to learn the offense from scratch?
Absolutely. I think it gets everybody thinking again. So there's nobody that's comfortable, and I think it's good for us to be uncomfortable early and see how they adjust to adversity. But everybody's on the same page. They all have to win their job, and that's made it easier for the freshmen coming in because that puts them right there on par with everybody else.
We got a little taste of Case Hatch last year at fullback. How do you see his role expanding under the Zach Hill offense?
I think he's one of the best players on the offensive side of the ball, just because he can block well, he can catch out of the backfield, he probably can run the football real well, but he has a great understanding of the game of football. I think he's going to be a huge part of our offense going forward.
Where does A.J. Carter kind of fit in? How has he progressed maybe from last year?
A.J. has done really well. I was worried a little bit regarding from the mental aspect because he didn't really have a good bowl game, and I wanted to see him bounce back, and he's bounced back pretty well. And he's right there in the hunt, rotating with everybody. Probably by the end of spring, somebody will hopefully rise to the top. But it's an open competition, and I think he's doing pretty well.
What's the message like to a guy like him that has a rough bowl game, comes back, now he has to deal with two new guys who are pretty highly touted? How do you keep a guy like that, just continue to do your thing?
Bringing in that new offense put everybody on par, and so that really helped his confidence. He knows that those young guys are after his job, and it is my job to recruit better than every year, and so they understand that. He has to buckle down and make sure that he does his job, and he'll have opportunities to do that. And that's the good thing about it. The spring ball gives all four of them opportunities to compete, and we'll see who climbs to the top.
Maybe under the radar, but I thought Demetrius Flowers actually had a pretty nice game against the Sun Bowl with limited reps. What do you see from him in the spring, especially missing the first sessions?
He's learning the offense too, as well as I am, and so we're all on the same page. But he had a good game from a confidence standpoint, because he didn't turn the ball over, and that's huge with us. I think he'll just get better and better. We look to use multiple backs this year and not count on one of them. So who's going to be in that mix all depends on who's making who's getting the most production in practice and not turning over the football and not making mental mistakes.
Was there a heart-to-heart moment between you and AJ sometime between the bowl game and spring practice where you kind of just sat him down and you either encouraged or there was some sort of message that you wanted to give him?
Absolutely, and here's the thing: whenever people compete for jobs, they don't make mistakes on purpose. And so I've learned that from all the years of teaching and coaching. The thing is that when you put your hand around a kid and make sure that you show him confidence and trust, he'll give that back to you. And so now he's at a clean state. I told him these new guys are going to come in and try to take your job. It's all on you. So whatever you want to do it. And so in the classroom, on the field, he's gotten better and better, and I see him progressing as well.
You had conversations, just Coach Hill at Boise State kind of used multiple running backs, and you guys last year, Nino was the workhorse, and so what have you talked to him about, just kind of like how you're going to approach giving guys a certain amount of reps? reps?
You know, it all is going to come down to who makes the least mistakes and turns over the ball the less. And then after that, I think they all have the ability to make plays. We are going to use multiple backs just because I don't think one back can go 80 plays in a row. Not with this offense from a mental standpoint. And so there's going to have guys that step up, and we'll use multiple backs. And I'm excited for the guys that are in the room, and so they have a chance. But then they're going to have to go and prove it too.
We saw that Daniel was kind of easing into the reps a little bit. Today was his biggest day, probably this spring. Was there a reason for the slower pace on the reps for him?
Yeah, the reason being he's not 100%. You know, so I wanted to make sure, and he still has to figure out the fastness of the game at the collegiate level. I still think he's being a little timid, and the timid comes from not knowing exactly what to do, and so that makes people play slow. And so once he gets that understanding, I'm sure his ability will take over and he'll be fantastic.
And then AJ was not there. There was just a class thing.
Yeah, he just didn't feel well today,
Okay.
and so we held him out, but he's going to be ready. I think everybody's waiting for that week break and to get recouped, but they have to get better over this week, and that means they have to take time in the weight room, and they have to go and train on their own. So I want to see the progression and leadership from that standpoint. I know they got 8 days off. Now let's see if they can go and figure it out on themselves.
In terms of the offensive line, looks like underclassmen are still all the rage over there. Ben Scott, redshirt freshman at center. Just from your perspective, what have you seen from him?
You know, it's seen tremendous. You know, to put a ball in your hand, now you got to touch the ball every single time and to snap it. He's done a tremendous job. I think he's a bright kid with a huge talent. Just getting comfortable with being the leader of that group because he has the ball and touching the ball on every snap, and so he's doing a great job.
What's the biggest challenge in just like you want guys to know or feel like they kind of know or are comfortable in their roles, but you do want to use multiple running backs and utilize different guys? You know,
and that's the great thing about competition. You know, some guys are going to have great weeks, some guys are going to have great games. You know, as long as every single week we're competing, and that job is going to stay open. Nobody has won that job, and so I like to see the competition. And you know, there's two types of guys: guys that rise above the competition, and guys that fall back. I want to see who's going to rise and who's going to fall.
Whose idea was it, like the balls and warm-ups? Like that kind of started a few days in.
I think Coach Hill brought that from a ball security standpoint, and we do ball security drills. For us to win at a consistent level, we need to make sure that we take care of the football. And so that's a huge point for us throughout the whole practice. You see us conditioning afterwards. That's because we haven't taken care of the football. So all the little things in regards to that will help us win.
Was that something like because you said Coach Hill brought it, but did he have a sense coming in that like from you guys maybe that last year that was a problem?
I just think that we need to, from last year I thought there was a couple of games that turned the other way because we had turnovers, and so we try to minimize those things, and just if it becomes a habit for them, then they're not going to. Of course, things are going to happen in the game. The ball's going to be out sometime, and we don't play perfect games. But if we can limit those, we're going to be fantastic.
To what extent do you see the three, like Carter, Triana, Nada having and even Flowers, just complementary skill sets or similar? Like how different or similar are?
You know, I think they're all different. I think AJ and Chip are the bigger back type guys, and I think they can handle it inside. Daniel's going to have to find his way through that, but I think he's dangerous out in the flats once he gets going. Flowers is a multitude of being inside and outside. He's a little bit more fluid on the outside, but they complement each other well. And complementing during a game, I think will help us because they're going to see different paces of kids.